Welcome back to the ETF Inspector. It's Monday, September 29th, just about 8 o'clock at night, and this is our daily recap video for our YieldMax weekly paying funds, ULTY, the Ultra Option Income Strategy Fund, LFGY, the Crypto Industry Option Income Fund, and SLTY, the Ultra Short Option Income Strategy Fund. Reminder, I'm on X at ETF_Inspector1. I let you know when videos are coming out, and it seems like X comes out faster than the notifications from YouTube. But either way, if you haven't already subscribed and you'd like to, just click the subscribe button. By the time you're watching the video, I think it'll be like down underneath it here. And if you turn on notifications, you'll get a heads up anytime videos come out. And if you're not familiar, videos are always coming out. So if you want to stay on top of that, click on the notification button. So we had a nice day in the market today. Lots of green. We'll start off with ULTY, that's everyone's favorite, up about 0.75%, or clicking on the wrong thing here, 4 cents. We'll go through each of the holdings within it to really highlight the big moves, but we had more than one double-digit upswing, so good day for them. LFGY had a great day, up over 3.5%, or $1.25. That's beautiful. There, I don't want to spoil the surprise, but you basically probably just saw. And then SLTY, well, if the market moves up that much, then shorting the market's not going to work out so well. So SLTY dropped $1.54, or no, 1.54%, or 67 cents. So we will look through how each of them performed. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, combining the LFGY video with the ULTY and SLTY, I kind of do that on nights where like out late for like a soccer practice or a thing like that, because I'm just now getting home to get started recording. So after 5:30, be able to download the intraday trades from YieldMax's website. It's kind of convenient because it gives you all the trades, so then you just scroll through to the ones you need. We got ULTY, SLTY, not so bad, and LFGY, not so bad. So we'll be able to make this hopefully not too long of a video. All right, starting out, ULTY, we got a handful of transactions made within the shares themselves. We bought more. MP Materials Corp, SoundHound AI, BitMine Immersion Technology, and Symbotic. And then we sold some of our Coinbase, Palantir, and Upstart. But we did not completely sell out of anything. So this is just, call it taking some profits. Unfortunately, it would have been nice if they took profits last week on Upstart. But I actually didn't pay attention to how they finished today. Oh, yeah. I don't even know if I'd call that taking profits. Maybe 2 weeks ago was the time to take profits on them. But in any case, after those transactions were made, then we've got a handful of options trades. That's really what we count on, right? These are option income funds, so we count the options each day and count them as credits or debits. Starting off, Affirm, just adjusting their strike price on some calls that were sold, brought in a credit of $200,000. BitMine Immersion, we bought more shares, so we're going to start more of a collar strategy on them. That brought in $320,000. Coinbase, we sold some shares, right? Right there, yep. We sold some shares, so we had to close out the option strategy on them. That cost us $643,000. CoreWeave, we're just adjusting strikes on a portion, but not even the complete thing. That's why it's not in orange. But that brought in almost $700,000 credit. Figma, adjusting the strike price on a portion of our sold calls, collected $240,000 in premium. Hims and Hers, this is a full roll, right? Buying to close and selling to also close the puts, and then selling new calls, buying new puts. All still for the same week, though, because the share price went up too far beyond our already sold strike price, so that cost us $4.4 million. Hood, basically same idea, adjusting, but it just wasn't the complete position, so that's why it doesn't get the orange. So we adjusted a portion of them, maybe roughly half, and left the other half LFGY. That cost us $5.1 million. MP Materials Corp. We were just closing and adjusting the strike price, brought the 75s down to 71s, and then since we added more shares, this is selling more calls at 71 and buying more puts at 63 to go with those new shares. All in all, it was a credit of $960,000. Palantir, we sold some shares, so we had to close out the collar strategy on the associated options, and that was a $581,000 debit. Quantum Computing, we just adjusted the strike price on our calls closer to the money, brought in $187,000 credit. SoundHound, same thing, so as above where we were closing and just adjusting the strike price on our sold calls. That's these two here: buy to close, sell short, or sell to open. And then since we bought more shares, then we got the collar strategy on those. $300,000 credit. Symbotic, we bought more shares, so this is just the starting the collar strategy on those shares. $200,000 credit. And finally, Upstart has just been dropping, so we closed out the sold calls pretty cheap, 17 to 30 cents a piece, and when we sold those protective puts, they brought in a lot of money, over $4 million there. So altogether, it was a credit of $3.8 million. So on the trading day, it was a negative, right, a debit of $3.8 million. As you can see, our share values of our underlyings increased today by $33 million. We'll go through and take a look how. Affirm Holdings was up 0.7. We see that we closed out those calls, so we'll have new strikes tomorrow, but we do also have puts that we sold at 74 that are still 3.3% out of the money. Bullish was down 0.46%. No, I don't want to say no. Yeah, no. No action taken there. So they've got calls that are anywhere from 0.3 to 9.1% out of the money still in play. Bitmine Immersion, 4% increase. 50s went in the money by 4.8%. 57s are still out of the money by over 9%. And just so you know, right, nothing to worry about with these going in the money. It's only 41 contracts. The big position is 14,500 contracts that are still doing just fine. So we basically captured all of that. Yeah, it's more than a 90%, more than 95%. Coinbase Global up 6.85%, and we're still out of the money by 0.3%. So that's sitting very pretty for us. Increased the value by $11.8 million on that one. CoreWeave up 1.8%, still 11% out of the money on those 136s. $676 million. So that's not changed yet because all the holdings are still the same from the Sunday video if you watch that, with the week look ahead and the payment guesstimate. Speaking of payment guesstimate, I guess I should have just talked about it again. I did make a guesstimate of 8.9 cents per share on Sunday's video. Now, knowing that they actually make the final decision on Monday, if they got to see the way the market was moving, I would guess that they saved that streak and probably made it 9 cents again. But either way, I'll leave it. Figma was up just about 0.5%, still over 9% out of the money on those 58s. First Solar up 1.6%, still 1.7% out of the money on 227.50s. Galaxy Digital had a nice day, so that put spread is now no longer stressing at all. It's 9.5% out of the money at 31. Hims and Hers up 1.2%. Their deepest in the money positions got rolled. They still have 57s and 60s that are 3.5% in the money and 1.5% out of the money. Robinhood Markets, the big winner today, up over 12.25%. Took their calls into the money by 7.8%. These are the ones where we saw, I think, about 7,000 calls got rolled. The other got left alone, so that's why we don't have the orange. Lululemon Still about a 0.5% in the money after today's move, with that put spread sold at 180. MP Material Corp down 0.6%. They closed these and rolled them to a closer strike. Strategy up 5.6. That's a nice move for MicroStrategy. 326. Still out of the money. So technically, if they end this way at the end of the week, we got to capture all the gain and keep the highest amount of premium. Open Door down 6.9%. They found a way to lose on this big up day. That did bring these 850s out of the money to where they're back to being a winning trade, 3.6%, and the 9s are now 9.7% out of the money. Palo Alto Networks increased to the point where it jumped out of the money on this put spread, sold at 202.50. They're 0.7% out. Palantir up 0.7%. Still another 0.6% out of the money on those 180s. So we're getting real close with those. Pony AI up 7.3%. Took their 22s in the money by 3%. Their 23s are still 1.2% out of the money. Quantum Computing dropped 6.4%. They took the win on these 22s, closed them, and rolled them to a closer strike. They still have 2050s and 2150s, 8.7 and 14% out of the money. Rigetti Computing was down almost 5% today. They've got 3250s and 33s sold at 9.6 and 11+% out of the money. Rocket Labs up 1.6%, just over 47. They have 48s and 50s sold, 2.1 and 6.3% out of the money. Rocket Company's up 3.2%, still another 1.8% to go at 2050. New Scale Power up 0.5%. 39s and 43s are out of the money by 2 and 12+%. SoundHound AI dropped by 1.6%. They closed and rolled these farther out of the money calls. They still have 17s in play that are 8.4% out of the money. Symbotic was up over 3%. Still 2.3% to go on those 55s. They've also sold $45 puts to help pay for their $48 protective puts. They're 16% out of the money. Tesla obviously went up today. I don't keep the percentages on those because I don't have the change in values because we don't own shares, so it doesn't affect us other than the option trade. But let's take a quick. Yeah, it only increased 0.6%, but we are now sitting to where all of our put spreads are out of no, almost all. Lululemon's still 0.5% in the money. Galaxy is only 0.5%. Alto Networks is out, and Tesla is now out. 2.4%. Unity Software was up 0.4%. Still 3.6% out of the money on those 4450s. And Upstart was the big loser of the day, down over 8%. For some reason, they closed the closer to the money strikes as opposed to the further out of the money. That's generally what they would do. So they still have 61s, 15.6% out of the money. I believe, did they switch these 59s to 61s? Bought the close. Oh, no, they didn't. They just closed them out. They didn't sell new. So that's how we got a $33+ million increase in the value of our underlying shares. So when the day started, we had just under $3.4 billion in assets under management. So that increase should take us up over 3.4, but there's still another factor. People could have bought into or sold out of the fund today, and that will also affect the assets under management. Outstanding shares just under 625 million. The NAV at the start of the day 544, closing price 547. We just got paid 9.21 cents per share on Friday. And that's all I got on ULTY. Next, we go to LFGY. Now, it doesn't generally get as much excitement, but today, the past 3-4 weeks have been nice for LFGY, and today was a really good one. So starting off with the options trades, they only adjusted positions in Galaxy, Hut 8 Corp, and Riot. Galaxy's cost them $338,000. Hut 8 Corp brought in $137,000, and Riot cost $690,000 for a total negative or loss of $891,000. But they increased in value by $12+ million. So $12 million doesn't sound like a lot, but we just watched a $3.4 billion fund go up by $30 million. This is a $190 million fund, so not even close, not even a tenth, and they jumped by about a third as much. So Bitmine Immersion was up over 4% today. Calls are still 9.4% out of the money. BitDeer increased by 6.5%. Some of their calls went in the money, well, the majority, 5,000, in the money by 1.7%. And then they still have a small position at 1850 that are 6.8% out. CleanSpark was up 14.74%. And notice there's no green there. They're not even the biggest winner. It only took them in the money by 5.8%. So that means we got to capture a large portion of that before we got capped. Coinbase up 6.8%, still out of the money by 0.3. So that was perfect. I think that was the same strike price we had sold over at ULTY. So they must be talking same traders maybe. Core Scientific up 2.8%, still about 1% out of the money on those 1750s. Circle Internet Group up 5.25, still another 4 3/4 out, so got to capture all that. iShares Ethereum Trust was up over 4%, still another 7+% out of the money on 34, so a nice capture there. Galaxy Digital up over 10, almost 11%. They had to close and roll those positions, but they did get to capture maybe 40%? No. Yeah, maybe like 40% of it before they got capped. GameStop up 2.9%, took their 27s into the money by 0.7. Robinhood up 12.27%, took their 127s into the money by 7.1%. Hut 8 Corp increased 5%, and they were still 26% out of the money. They did close these and adjust them to a closer strike. iShares Bitcoin Trust, there's no options. It's just the shares, and they jumped by almost 5%. That was a $830,000 increase in value. Mara Holdings was the big winner today, up 15.69%, and they still didn't go in the money, so we got to fully capture that $1.6 million. Still another 4.5% out of the money on those 1950s. MBTX, they've got two different spreads going here. A call credit spread with the strike sold at 265. Those went into the money by $5+, 2%. Then they have a put spread, a debit put spread, where they purchased the 255s. They're now 5.75% out of the money. That value will decrease once we download the holdings. They should be coming out in the next 15-30 minutes. Mercado Libre up 1.3%, took them in the money by 0.25% on those 24.95s. Strategy was up 5.6%, still another 4% to go on those 340s. NU Holdings up over 1%, out of the money just barely 0.3% or 5 cents. NVIDIA Corp was up over 2%. They were already in the money when we started, so now they're a little deeper, 2.4% on those 177.50s. Opera Limited was up 8.7%. They've got two positions here, but really only one matters. It's the 20s, 4,300 contracts compared to 23 contracts. So those 4,300 went into the money by 2.25%. The 21s are out by 2.6. PayPal was up 3.5%, took them in the money on those 68s by 2.4%. I should mention Opera's, they are dated out till the 17th, so there's still plenty of time to go on them. Riot Platforms was up 11.8%. The deeper in the money positions got closed and rolled, and the further out of the money, again, much smaller position, are not further out, just not as deep in, 6.4% in the money on 1850s. And finally, Block up 2.3%, still another 2% to go. And that's how we got that $12.7 million increase in value. I realize that's different than the number that was there, so it adjusted. I'll adjust that after the video just to copy the right one over. Assets under management, $192 million when the day started. So today was the day. Unless people sold out of the fund, we just that didn't need to be there. We just broke $200 million. We've been waiting for a few weeks now because an increase of 12 plus million is going to take it over. So as long as people didn't sell out, we'll be good. Outstanding shares, 450,000. NAV at the start of the day, 35.25. Increased share price at the end of the day to 36.54. We all just got 51.2 cents per share on Friday. I forgot to delete all this stuff. All that's from the Sunday week look ahead and payment guesstimate video. All right, finally. Oh, I did forget to mention, if you missed Sunday's video, my guesstimate for LFGY was 48 cents, but again, given that they don't make the final decision until Monday, and the kind of day they saw today with not a single, if you noticed when I went through, I showed you the biggest winner, but I never showed you the biggest loser because there wasn't one. Not a single thing was in the negative. So there's the possibility we get another 50 center with the way the share price is climbing. So we were making a nice recovery. Okay, last but not least, SLTY. Well, maybe it is least, right? It's the smallest one we cover, barely any money in it, so we're going to not give it quite as much airtime. Starting off, options trades. They made some adjustments with Bloom Energy, Circle Internet Group, Duolingo, and Mara Holdings, bringing in $10,000, $9,000, $3,000, and $74,000 credits on those for a total of $98,000 credit on their options trades. That was also because they dropped in share value by $461,000 because when you short shares and they go up, it's going to hurt your value. Before we switch pages, since I forgot on the first two, guesstimate was 62.5 cents on this one. So again, if I could adjust my guess on a Monday, I would say it's might be a little lower than that, maybe more like 60 or even high 50s. When we take a look at how the holdings performed, okay, I didn't remember if I picked the highest and lowest or not. Astera Labs was up 0.5%, but when a shorted shares increase, then you lose value because they're going to become more expensive to close out. Their puts are still 0.6% out of the money. Bloom Energy increased by 4.6%. They they closed the further out of the money puts and brought them closer. They still have 68s that are 7.6% out. BitDeer Technology up 6.5%. They've got puts 7.5% out of the money and calls sold 15.5% out of the money. Circle Internet Group was up 5.25%. Their puts were adjusted to a closer strike. Duolingo up 0.75% almost. They closed their further out of the money puts, but they still have 312.50s in play that are just about 5% out. Enphase Energy down 1.15%. So you see when they go down, that actually helps increase the value. Still almost 3% out of the money on those $35 puts. GitLab down 1.3%. Still almost 4% out of the money on those $45 puts. Lemonade was up 5.7%. Puts are at 58% out, and they have calls sold at 62, 14% out of the money. Mara Holdings was the big winner today. Well, the big increaser. It's not a winner in this fund. That makes it hurt the most. Up 15.6%, caused the market value of those shares to drop by almost 180,000. They closed and rolled all those positions. Nebius Group was up 2.3%. Puts sold at 103 and 106 are 3.8 and 6.5% out of the money. RH was down 2.3%. They Unfortunately, out of all the ones to go down, the one that went down the most was already in the money on those puts, so they're deeper in the money, 4.8%. Symbotic up over 3%. Their puts at 49.50 are 7.8% out of the money. And Tempest AI was up 0.1%. Their puts at 76 are 3.2% out. There's $15 million in assets under management, 350,000 outstanding shares, and 43.25 was the NAV at the start of the day. And I forgot to update that. If you watched this video before, I usually forget to update that. And that is because Excel, with its automatic pulls, it just doesn't recognize SLTY. It's too new. 42.65. All right, so that's all I have for you on all three videos. The only thing left now is a dad joke of the day. So thank you for watching. Appreciate all your support. And here's your dad joke. I know a bunch of good jokes about umbrellas, but they usually go over people's heads. All right, thank you for watching. Have a good night. Good luck trading tomorrow, and I'll catch you in the next video.